Is in the house.
All right, Ken.
What's going on, Nancy? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great.
You brought a bunch of people again.
I did. Well, last month we were talking about the county's landscaping, the Gateways and Thoroughfares project.
Yeah, bushes and shrubs and stuff.
And all that kind of stuff. And so I brought Charlie Council from Team Punta Gorda.
Charlie,
good morning.
See you again.
And Joe from the show is
Joe
here.
from the show!
Yeah.
And we brought Ruta Vardas with us from Charlotte County.
Hi, Ruta. Thanks for coming.
This is
First time here, isn't it, Ruta?
Yep, first time here.
first time on the radio.
On the radio.
So we told her she'll be fine.
Well, don't be afraid. There's only tens of people listening.
I know there are people listening because we get feedback at Team Punta Gorda. They hear us. They like people like the positive things that we talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And so we actually, when we did a survey a year ago, and so we got feedback that said we like hearing you on the radio. Hearing Team Punta Gorda on the radio. So we know people are listening to you, Ken.
Are you lobbying for a job here?
Yeah.
I have a full-time volunteer job here.
So how's it going? Give us an update.
It is progressing. We're getting down into the nitty-gritty now. We've already identified what would be the gateways and thoroughfares that we think should be addressed, and it's been a collective effort. And I think that the county is intending on putting some of this up on the website at some point in time so people can see this.
Yes, eventually, as we start to formulate more, finalize some more of our details, we'll be posting it on the website.
So people will be able to actually look at it and see. But it's, we're now talking about the kinds of trees, palms, shrubs, flowers, whether you want color or not color. And
It's funny because I'm a non-horticulture guy, so they're using these fancy 10-word names for these plants and bushes. So I got the manual. See, I get to look at pictures.
You mean this one here?
I'm like, I like the one with the big leaves and the red flowers. So, I've been given these books and I get to pick what I want. And Ruta was able to last meeting I was at, pull up on a computer and put up on a big screen the type of bushes and plants, so it's a lot easier to visualize it than look at a fancy name, because some of us aren't too good at the scientific names.
Well, of course, we're looking at a basic overall theme, and I think that is a tropical appearance. Something that's going to wow newcomers.
Yeah, it has
in the
wow
area.
factor, easy to maintain,
Exactly.
indigenous to Florida. Yeah.
I think I'm starting to find my place in the landscape committee because I've been put in charge of the mulch selection. Because, after going through all the plants and they saw kind of, where I was with that,
Now you got to sign up for Master Gardener.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So basically, I boil it down to 3 types of mulch. I'm going to make my big presentation at the next meeting. It's cypress mulch, bark chip, and recycled. So I've been doing a lot of homework on that. So I'm going to be the mulch guy on this whole deal.
This is where my Master Gardener hat comes in handy, because then I can start to look at things and compare and pick out, it's challenging particularly because Charlotte County has multiple planting zones for climate, and while in southern Charlotte County, south of the Peace River, you can grow a lot of different vegetation than you can north of the Peace River. And
we're going to start finding that out here in a couple of days, too.
That's right.
It's chilly out this morning. Good.
So we have to be able to, we're trying to address what would be a brand for the county in appearance, and something that suits the entire county, and yet can create that tropical appearance, that tropical ambiance that we think visitors are going to expect from us. They come to Florida and they think that it's tropical. I know, working on the Plant Lifeline at the Cooperative Extension, and people will come in and sometimes, it's after in the winter. Well, you thought you moved far enough south, but you really didn't. If you want to be able to plant some of those really tropical plants, you need to go further south. And but we're trying to give that appearance, and there are choices, and so that's where we are.
Well, knowing that a lot of this, in the big scheme of things, when you're talking about government stuff, is relatively inexpensive on an annual basis. Do we have the funding? Was that able to be taken care of?
Well, that's what we're looking into. Right now, we're trying to put together what do we want? What's the big picture? What's the theme? And let's pick plants, and we have the expertise of Nancy and Joe, and we have some other county staff that are.
Ralph Mitchell's participating.
Oh, you gotta have
Mitchell,
Ralph,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greg O'Connor, he's kind of nuts and bolts and expertise on landscaping on the public works side. And so we're trying to take all these ideas and come up with what's the look that we want to achieve. And then work it backwards from there, you know, how much is this gonna cost us? And then see where we can put together a budget and look for the funding at that point. So we're still kind of in those stages where trying to figure out what do we want, how much is it gonna cost us right now?
But in the meantime, though, we still have maintenance that can be taken care of.
I think that's one of the other, it's not a simple process, as we've talked about through several meetings, and it's one thing to be able to create a theme, make the selection, put them in, but then you have to look ahead to the maintenance required going forward and whatever. And that's, that decision looms on the horizon, and then finally, it's all wrapped together with identifying funding sources, be they local, state, federal, and whatever.
Well, I know based on this year's budget that just went before the board at their last meeting, they've definitely increased the frequency from the previous year on cuts and the level of service that's done by the landscape vendor. That job was given out, and hopefully we're going to start seeing things in the near future on that. And I know part of what the team has been doing is developing different levels of landscaping, a high standard, medium standard, and a lower standard. And we've applied that to the different gateways we've identified on a map. And I think part of what Root is going to do and the county is put together an interactive map, and we're going to march it over to the county commissioners and do a presentation for the board, and they'll be able to hopefully click on one of our standards or one of our gateways, and the plant selections will come up. And you'll be able to say, okay, here's a digital picture of what it's going to look like, so they'll have a better understanding of what we're trying to accomplish. You know, for me, just driving over here, I passed Kingsgate, and I looked at that entrance. You know, part of selling Port Charlotte and selling a community just like Kingsgate's trying to sell their community there is the curb appeal. And you know, when you drive by, it's like, wow. You know,
It's nice, yeah.
why can't we do that at our gateways? There's really no reason. It's just the proper plant selection, you know, the installation, and then maintaining it after it's done. I mean, if you could imagine that type of look at our gateways, like at Kings Highway, coming off the interstate, you know, you're going to get that wow factor. And it's not going to be millions and millions of dollars.
No.
You know? I think at the end of the day, when we put our budget together and make the presentation, hopefully we're going to get a lot of citizen input into this. They're going to see that it's something that's achievable, attainable, and it's not going to cost a ton of money.
No, and again, it's something that should have already been considered in the budget. I think a little bit more,
Yeah, and I think
a
they
higher
are.
priority.
Yeah,
I know they are now.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
is good, it's good to see.
Yeah, I know there's definitely more talk about it. I've had conversations, as well as the other members of the team. And I think we are starting to get the traction. We're getting the word out. And the new commission coming in, I know I've spoken to some of those guys, and I think they're on board with the whole concept. I think they know we need to do something. Gets back to the demographics, trying to get people in the county to help grow the county.
Well, we
Right.
had meetings back in 2010, once the county commission and the Punta Gorda City Council all agreed that they wanted to proceed with a gateway project. We held two public meetings, and the citizen feedback then was pretty consistent with what we're looking at right now and what we're doing. And so now what this committee is all about is more in the implementation of that feedback we got then. So, and I think it's a timing factor, as many things are. And when you look at what is being done on either end of our county, in Sarasota County and in Lee County, we need to do something if we're going to, make ourselves stand out. And we don't want to be just like everybody else, but we want to establish what is Charlotte County's brand in appearance.
There's this is only one half of the overall project when we get right down to it. This is only looking at trees and shrubs and vegetation. There's another aspect of upgrading the appearance of the county, and that has to deal with structures, be they signage or whatever. I know that at the Punta Gorda and the county have worked last year on looking at the LDRs, land development regulations, and seeing how perhaps the county can phase closer to what Punta Gorda's LDR scheme is and so forth.
So you get a nice blending of the two.
See a nice blending, and you know, obviously, a consideration in the county does have that consideration is what the possible impact can be on business if they're required to drastically resize signs and things like that. But that's an important part to have a product.
Well, don the headphones, kids. You got a call holding. Same, they